Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is another glute workout, and this is just like a grow your glutes kind of workout, the workouts that I recommend you do to grow your glutes. Now I have hundreds, I have a lot of glute workouts on my YouTube channel, much more than I do on my Instagram, and this is because I can give you much more detail into the full workout and why I do the workouts that I choose to do. Now, a lot of people ask me why I change my workouts every single week and do not have to stick to the same workout for 5 to 6 weeks to see progress. So when people ask me this, I say to them I couldn't think of anything more boring than doing the same workout for like 6 to 8 weeks. Like the exact same glute workout for 6 to 8 weeks. I would never ever do that. What I do in my glute workouts is the same compound lifts at the start of each session. Now this is predominantly the barbell hip thrust, which is the best glute exercise I could possibly ever think of, just because of how much load you can lift. The glutes are obviously meant to be the strongest muscle in the human body, and you can get a lot of load and you can lift a lot of weight through a hip thrust. I also do sumo deadlifts. I don't do squats as much because squats are more of a quad exercise rather than a glute exercise, if you didn't know that. So when everyone says do hundreds and hundreds of squats to get a good bum, no, do hundreds and hundreds of hip thrusts to get a good bump. So I do keep my compound lifts more the same, and week by week I progressively overload. So this is either increasing the weight a little bit each week or reducing the rep numbers, increasing the sets, reducing rest time. There's something each week that I will slightly change for adapting the workout and to induce hypertrophy through progressive overload. So doing that a little bit more, challenging your body that little bit more. Now all the other exercises I do are accessory movements. These are things that isolate your glutes, that target your glutes or your hamstrings within the session. I think this is why a lot of people do enjoy doing my glute workouts, because they're not the same but they still see results. It's same as like my peach guide, 12 weeks to the perfect peach, which you can download below. The workouts aren't the same, but they have that same focus on progressive overload, challenging yourself, increasing the weight week by week, or mixing around the sets and reps and rest time. Now the workout I've got for you today is a killer, and it is a slightly more advanced glute workout, I would say, just because there's a couple of supersets in there, and there is also quite an advanced movement, which is the dual single leg Romanian deadlift from a deficit. So you're standing on a plate and you're doing a single leg RDL. So this is like where you do this, and you've got plates in the hand and you're doing a hip hinge movement. So this is why it's a little bit more advanced. Obviously if you're a beginner, I will speak through alternatives that you can do within the workout. I really hope you enjoy it. It's one of my favourite glute workouts. I'm actually off to the gym tonight to do the exact same workout because I do love it, and you get the best glute pump in the whole entire world. So I'm going to do it again tonight and probably change the finisher slightly. Really hope you guys enjoy it.
All know by now that my favourite glute exercise is the barbell hip thrust. Now here I'm doing 4 lots of 6 reps with around 140 kilograms. So this is a very heavy load for me, and you actually go straight into a superset of doing 20 reps of glute bridges with a band. So with the barbell hip thrust, as always, look straight forward and keep your gaze like this throughout the whole movement. You'll notice your chin will naturally tuck, so don't stick your head up, don't look up the ceiling. Keep your gaze forward, keep your ribs down, make sure your chest doesn't pop up, and you'll also have a flat torso to avoid hyperextending your spine. So if you get a bad back when you're hip thrusting, it's probably because you're hyperextending your spine. I also want you to push through your heels rather than the front of your foot, just to ensure that all the force goes onto your glutes and your hamstrings rather than your quads. So when you're reaching full hip extension, which is at the top of the movement, I want your shins to be vertical to the floor. So what I mean by this is, don't have your feet too far away because it will hit your hamstrings much more, and don't have your feet closer because you're going to hit your quads. So you want them parallel and vertical to hit your glutes. Moving straight into 20 reps of banded glute bridges. Now this is going to have your glutes on fire because you've just done heavy loaded barbell hip thrust. Now it is the same motion except your shoulders and upper back are on the floor. Keep your chin tucked and have that slight posterior tilt as soon as you get to the top of the movement. Again, always pushing through your heels to get that extra glute tension. This is the dual single leg RDL from a deficit. Now, I know that's a mouthful and it sounds very confusing, but it is a single leg Romanian deadlift where you stand on a plate, and dual means you're holding 2 dumbbells. Now, this is what I do mean by the advanced movement, and as you can see, you do need pretty good balance to do this. You don't have to do it from a deficit, but I solely did this because I was getting a better stretch in my hamstrings and I could feel it more in my glutes. So with this exercise, what you want to do is, on the leg you're standing on, is hinge at the hip. So this is more so a hamstring movement where you will hinge at the hip and you want to push back and bring it back up using your glutes. If you are struggling to balance, all you should try and do is stare at one single spot throughout the whole exercise. Now, I know that can be tricky. Like I said, use one dumbbell, don't use any dumbbells, or don't stand on the plate. Just get your balance right, practice, 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 and you will be able to do it, I promise you. Our third exercise today is still from a deficit, so you're standing on 2 plates so you can reach a little bit further in terms of your range of motion. Now, this is the dumbbell squat from a deficit. You're doing 4 lots of 10 reps. Now, with any kind of squat, if you're wanting to target your glutes more than your quads, because a squat is predominantly a quad style of movement, all you want to do is sit a little bit further back into the squat and have your feet slightly wider, or a sumo stance for your squat. This way you will actually target your glutes more than your quads, even though I feel like I can see my quads popping a little bit on this video. I can also see my glutes working as well. So sit back on your heels and you'll target your glutes. Your superset, well actually your second superset of this workout, is a cable superset with pull-throughs into kickbacks. And you're doing 12 pull-throughs into 10 kickbacks per leg. So with the cable pull-throughs, I actually use a handle instead of the rope because I find it much easier to hold, because the rope kind of hurts my hands a little bit. And again, it is going to target your hamstrings. It is hinging at the hip, like you can see side on. I'm hinging at the hip and then I'm pulling through, but I'm not, like fully not, hyperextending my spine. So pulling through with the rope as far as I can go, big stretch at the back, and you will hit your glutes, not your lower back. Straight away, I'm moving into the cable kickbacks, and I thought I'd show you today how I actually set this up without having a strap. So if you put the handle in the middle of your foot, you should be able to hold that there without it sliding down or sliding up onto your ankle. And I know a lot of gyms don't actually have the ankle straps, and this particular gym doesn't have the ankle straps, but I still found it super easy. Well, the exercise wasn't easy, but I found it easy to hold the cable where it is. Now I'm keeping a neutral spine throughout this movement, tucking my knee in and bringing it back out straight. But as I'm extending this leg back, you can see that I'm not arching my lower back. So that is one of the things you want to avoid when doing kickbacks. And a lot of people get bad back pain rather than targeting their glutes. So I'm holding the pole in front of me with 2 hands for more stability. And like I said, the most important thing is to squeeze at the top without arching that lower back. Your final exercise before moving on to your finisher is plate standing abductions, and you're going to do 3 lots of 12 to 15 reps. Now, all you want to do is get a 10 or a 5 kilogram plate and place it on the outer side of your thigh. And all you're doing is, like the name, abducting your leg. So this is bringing it to the side and bring your leg up, and you're hitting your glute medius. So when I do this exercise, it's actually the first time I've ever done it and I loved it. The leg that I'm bringing up, I also bring it behind the leg I'm standing on, just so I can get a bit of a better stretch. Moving on to your 3 minutes continuous band work, and this is 3 minutes minimum, but I would recommend 3 minutes because your glutes are going to be on absolute fire. So I do frequently get asked why I always do glute finishes after my workouts. I think it's pretty straightforward because the pump and the burn you feel after the finisher is second to none. Like, I absolutely love it. You've seen all the compound lifts, the accessory lifts at the start of the workout. Now you're going to feel a hard burn, and this is because of the high rep ranges of the exercises. The first exercise that you saw me doing was actually lateral band walks, and I quickly moved into banded squats. So throughout this whole finisher, I'm again using my hip circle band, my Peachy hip circle, which I've linked below for you. You might find with the squat, because the band, well, my band is so tight, that I ended up leaning a little bit more forward than probably what is ideal. Straight away moved on to band standing hip abductions. Now these are ridiculously hard, and what I want you to try and do is do as many as you can on each leg before you have to move on to the next exercise. And I've gone straight into band cha-chas, which were an exercise created by Brett Contreras. Of course, if you don't follow him, you probably do, because I always bang on about him. And your final exercise is band standing hip abduction. So this is just to the side, so similar to what we did with the plate before, but except this is going to be 10 times harder because you can't lift your leg as high and the band is very, very restrictive.
You will have just seen the glute workout, talking through with all the advice and the tips that I can personally give you that I think will help your session. Give it a go, let me know what you think, put a comment below, subscribe to my channel, and give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!